Hey,
Yo.
we are back for day two.
Hey, day two, baby.
Yes, with your favorite host and co-host,
Yeah.
Mason Grimes.
My name is Mason, and this is Susie.
Anyway, it's not actually late, but we're acting like it's late.
Yes.
Anyway, okay,
Right.
so we are talking today about when you're in a relationship with someone, even if it's just a friendship, you want to spend time with that person, right? I mean, if it's a good, healthy relationship, even if it's like long distance, you still want to spend time with that person. So that's obviously like a critical part of relationships, and it's also a critical part of our relationship with Jesus. And we kind of touched on it yesterday, just at the beginning, but that's what I'd really like to focus on today is spending time with God, getting that into the habit of that, and how it's going to help us.
Yes. Spending time with God is such a valuable part of being in a relationship with Him, and pursuing that, and you being pursuant of that. I don't know if that's even a word, but you're pursuing the relationship just as much as God is, um, and that shows. Spending time with God shows your devotion to the relationship just as much as God's devotion to the relationship. Um, your significant other doesn't know if you like them if you never spend time with them, right? If they're constantly trying to spend time with you and you're constantly blowing them off or constantly want to do something else, or not, or you call it spending time but you're on your phone, you know what I'm saying?
Playing video games.
Playing video games. I am. I'm guilty of it all. So.
No, we're good.
Thanks.
Because he can play video games and I can read, and we're
Right.
still like together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, so I just wanted to say first that when I first started to try and build a habit of spending time with God, I think I was about 12, and I decided I thought it was really important. And so you're never too young or too old to start building that habit. And it wasn't necessarily like we're going to talk about how, and we have talked about how like it's important for you to have a relationship with God, and the things that we do out of love for Him, not out of feeling like we need to complete a checklist or rules. But sometimes building habits takes a little bit of work, and you may not always feel like it. I think when I first started, it wasn't necessarily like I woke up every day, oh my goodness, I can't wait to go spend time with Jesus. I wish it was, but sometimes you're not feeling it, and it takes a little bit of work. But I think it's a very, very valuable habit to build, and as you do it, you're going to want to do it more.
Right.
And even on those days that it's hard, when you finally go and spend time with Jesus, it's like, so glad I did this.
Yeah.
And you'll start to notice on the days that you skip it, that your attitude is not quite as good, or your words. And you're like, what is wrong with me today? And like, well, maybe because I skipped out on spending time with Jesus.
Right.
So it's okay if you're not always feeling it, but it's really good to build that habit. And so that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. It'll always be worth it. If you are in a close relationship with someone, you want to spend time with them. If you truly want to know Jesus more, this is the best way. Spending time with Him every day if you can. I know it's not, if you forget a day or whatever, it's fine, But as much as you can, that's the best way for us to grow closer to the Lord. So my first question for Mason, what has your journey looked like making a habit of spending time with God?
My journey's probably been a little inconsistent. You talked about making it a habit, and that is huge, totally important. But I think starting out this thing, you try to make it a habit, and you get lazy, and you kind of fall off, and never really hop back on like you should. And so I think over the years, it's went from okay, I'm going to spend time with God. I've carved out this time of my day to do it every day, and then to being kind of inconsistent with it and not always spending that time to now at this time it's one of those things where, I try to talk to God, and I try to get in some time with Him, whether it's, you know, um, whether it's meditating with worship music, or whether it's physically talking to God, which may sound weird for some people, but I talked on yesterday about um, like my spot being like in the car while driving. The good thing about that is when you're in the car by yourself, you can talk to God by yourself, and people not look at you weird if they're not in the car with you. Um, so yeah, so I use that time to talk to God out loud, um, and use that time to pray, and and then I read my Bible, and all those different things. So I kind of my time with God is mixed up with in like separate little things that I do throughout the day. Um, that's kind of how I spend my time with God, and how I come to get to know God's voice, and get to hear Him, and confess if I need to confess, repent if I need to repent, um, be just completely honest and say, God, I hate what's going on right now. I need your help. Or just say, God, I'm struggling. I need you. Um, if you can see, there's a common theme. I need God. We all need God. And so, no matter what it may look like. But yeah, that's kind of what my journey looks like a little bit.
Yeah. So would you say there's like a perfect time that you need to spend time with God?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it makes sense for me to like it. It's kind of been weird with like the time that we're in right now, with it being like COVID and stuff, and so um, with me working in a different room, I don't have to wake up as early, and I don't have a 40-minute drive to work anymore. Um, so now back then I had 40. Look again, I had 40 minutes to go to work. So in that time, I would talk to God, spend some time alone, and then also pray. We would pray together on the phone as we were headed to work. Um, but now it's a little weird, and so for me, the most opportune time would be in the morning. Um, but for me, it kind of doesn't happen until like my days kind of start a little bit, and I don't know. Whenever I get some time away from the house, because my job is at the house now, so anytime I can kind of get away, I kind of take advantage of that time as well. But yeah, but for a long time, it was before my day started.
Yeah.
I would pray with my family. We would read our Bible together in the mornings, and so yeah, that would be kind of the best time. So
yeah, for me, it's been different. When I first started trying to make it a habit, it was at night before I went to bed.
Right.
And then it moved to mornings. And currently, it's more in the afternoon because that's when Mason plays his drums in our room. And it's very loud. And so, since I told you yesterday, I like to go out in the garage. It works out perfectly. He can be in there playing his drums, and I can be out in the garage spending time with Jesus. And since I think there's no like right time, but you do want to give God your best. And so if in the morning you're just falling asleep, which I was doing a lot the last time I was doing it in the morning, and I had to get out of bed and move to a different spot to wake up. Mm-hmm. That was helpful. Mm-hmm. Or if you're doing it at night and you notice you're just so tired you can't stay awake, maybe you don't want to do it at night. And really, it's the whole thing about it is not that that's the only time we spend with God. It's not like, oh, I did my 15 minutes. Yay. Sometimes I feel like, oh, I did that. Now I can watch TV the rest of the day or do whatever I want because I did my time with God. But that's not it. That time should shape the rest of your day. So like the time that it's just like a time for you to connect with God so that the rest of the day you can stay connected with him. And like Mason talks about splitting it up, maybe like you connect with God, but then later you're driving, you're listening to worship music, you're connecting with God. Right. You're doing the dishes. If y'all do the dishes, they're the worst. You're doing the dishes and you're praying. No. You pass someone on the street and you like realize you should pray for them, or someone pops in your head. It's just a way to connect with God so that throughout the whole day your focus is right. No. And so it's not like, ooh, I did my time and I'm done. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it is important to get some time where you're not so distracted and you can really listen for what God has to say to you and just align yourself with him every day. Right. So yeah, depending on what season you're in, obviously this whole quarantine has kind of switched things up. So maybe you have more time now, or maybe it's harder for you because you're not on a schedule. But like I said, we're working these 8 days. So whatever time, this is a good time to experiment. Right. You can try the morning, see how that works. Try the afternoon, try the evening. Mm-hmm. Set a timer if you need to. Right. I just want to give some practical help for those of you that maybe have never started this, or maybe you've tried and you have failed. That's totally understandable. Yeah, for sure. And so, yeah, I just want to help however I can. But I do want to say, like, I truly believe that if you can establish this habit, it can change your life. Mm-hmm. Like, I think every day connecting with God can save you from some pretty terrible mistakes, can save you from some awful things. If you are currently living in sin or doing things that you know are wrong, you're going to have a really hard time connecting with God every day because you're going to feel guilty. And so if you have that habit where, like, I'm going to get something right now, then maybe later in that day you're not going to go back into that same situation because you've already met with God and you know you're going to meet with him again. You know, I just think if you have that habit, I really believe it can change the trajectory of your whole life. If it's something even now as a young person that you can instill as a habit. Right. So not necessarily because I just need to do it because God's not going to love me if I don't. Mm-hmm. But it's a great habit to start.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I mean, you kind of talked about this, but I feel like the biggest way, and I was talking to my mom about this before, and I think the biggest way that I've known God to be who he is in my life. So, like, for example, the Bible talks about God being, a healer, forgiver, all these different things, all these different names that God is, and provider, all these different things that God is. And I think for me, the way I've known God to be those things is by experiences, and not necessarily like, I don't think that you have to like go a route of like doing as much wrong as you can to like prove that God is real. Like, no, like, let me just tell you, God is real. Take my word for it. Don't put yourself through any type of craziness to prove that or to realize that. But in my experiences, I realized that like God's true love for me, by like him continuously, consistently, constantly forgiving me and redeeming me, in the midst of my sin, in the midst of my shortcomings, in the midst of my faults, in the midst of my bad decisions. God continued to show his love towards me. And not only that, but he continued to show his favor towards me, and his grace and his mercy, for sure. Because, I feel like favor and grace and mercy are all wrapped in like, I don't know, like all wrapped in a way of like not receiving, all that you deserved. I feel like God showed us his favor, love, grace, and mercy, like by sending his son on the cross to die for our sins, the sins that that we had even committed yet, and he already sacrificed his son to die for us. for our sins. And Jesus, a perfect person, a perfect man, a perfect being, became sin, um, just so that we could have this relationship that we're talking about. And so yeah, and so by experiences, God has shown Himself to me. He's shown Himself to us, not even just with like the bad stuff in our life, but like the fact that like God continues to provide for us. That He continues to remain faithful in our marriage, faithful in our finances, faithful in our relationship with each other. And it's just amazing to sit and watch God work, as you kind of go along, and like it's like, okay, God, like I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing. I'm gonna keep living in this life that you blessed me with, and allow you to move. You know what I'm saying? Like in a way that I can't. And that's super cool, and it's super important, because I feel like once you've wrapped your mind around, and once you experience a situation, once it's become like not a verbal thing between like Susie and I talking to you guys, and that this actually becomes like a life situation, and you actually see God work and move in your life, then you will totally understand, what we're talking about, and you'll totally get and wrap your mind around the fact that like, oh gosh, like this is a relationship, and this is something that I want to pursue, because God's been good to me, and God is like, I've literally seen God work and God move. I've seen God heal me. I've seen God heal my family. I've seen God, bring a broken home together. I've seen God like, not like get me out of, I could have been in a wreck, or I was in a wreck and walked away from the car. Like all these different things that God has done in your life, you will be able to like take that and say like, okay, yeah, I'm totally going to pursue Christ, and I'm going to live this life, not a perfect life, but live this life in a relationship with Him, and pursue that. And it's really cool once you've experienced those things firsthand. So
yeah,
sorry, that was long.
You're good. Anyway, so yeah, and we are going to talk in the next few days more specifically about like prayer and studying the Bible and journaling and all that. But today we're talking more about just getting in that habit. And I think that that's an important step to just make sure we get in the habit. So a couple things that might be helpful. I've heard of the 5-5-5 method, where you spend 5 minutes in worship, 5 minutes reading the Bible, and 5 minutes praying. And once again, like the whole purpose is not, oh, I have to do this strict thing. But if you need some help just getting started, you're not sure what to do,
Sure.
That's a good way to break it down. If you're like, oh, I need to increase, well, you can do 10 minutes of each, know. And I do think that it's helpful. I don't always do this, but I think it's helpful maybe to start with a worship song. I was thinking about this message today, so when I went out today in the garage, I just started with a worship song, nothing else, and I just felt like it helped get me focused. There's always a million things on my mind, so it's hard to just go straight from thinking about everything to, hey, here I am praying, not distracted, totally focused. But at worship, just playing a worship song can help like get me focused on God, get me my thoughts calm and ready to hear from Him. And so you may want to start that. We have the worship playlist that we told you about. We're posting Bible verses for you to read. And like I said, we'll talk more about that. But that's a way to get started, was the 5-5-5 method. Another helpful tip is to limit distractions. So I love the Bible, but I love like the real Bible. I've read through the Bible different ways, and I have done it on the app. And that's good, but if you have your phone out, something's going to pop up. Right. It always does.
Always does.
And that's fine if that's the only way that you like to do it. That's fine. You could try airplane mode. Maybe you're better at not getting distracted than I am. Right. But I really like to have my real Bible there so I can kind of put my phone aside if possible. A tip I always remember my mom saying is, if you're like me and things are always running through your mind, like today I was out there and something came up, oh, I need to get my car inspected. And instead of like that being on my mind, because I'd be like, I'm going to forget by the time I get done that I need to get my car inspected, and that would be running through my mind, I just wrote it down. Then I don't have to think about it till the end.
No.
I set an alarm so it'd go off later and remind me I need to go get my car inspected. So just something that helps you if you tend to be one of those people that gets distracted. Yeah. And totally, if you're one of those ADHD prayers, that's okay. Like, that's me too. Like, you think that you're praying and all of a sudden you're thinking about something else. That's fine. It, like I said, it's a habit, and God still loves you. He's just excited to spend time with you either way. He's excited that you are seeking him and wanting to know him more. He's not sitting up there judging you for how well you do it or how well you say anything. He's just excited that you want to pursue him. Like, he's going to be so excited that you want to spend time with him. Like, think about someone that you might really like, and if they want to spend time with you, that's going to make you really excited. God loves you. He's just going to be so excited that you want to spend time with him. And so, let's see what else. Oh, if you're one of those people that you just are having a lot of trouble, I have in the past said I'm not allowed to get on social media until I spend time with God, especially in the summer. Because when I'm on like a strict schedule, it's easy enough. I wake up, do it before I go to school, that's fine. But in the summer, I wake up late, get on Facebook, watch a movie. It's really hard to stop all that and go spend time with God. So I know it sounds like, oh, it's a rule, but sometimes just to get in a habit, you need to make yourself a rule. I'm not even going to get on social media, or I'm not going to start video games until I spend time with the Lord. Yeah, and tough. That'll help. I know. And like I said, that's not like you have to, but I'm just giving you lots of suggestions to hopefully help you. Maybe you need someone to help hold you accountable. That's a great thing about Stoutsville. You can text or message any of the other people you know, or someone from church or one of your friends, and be like, hey, for this many days or whatever this week, I really want to try this. Can you please message me and make sure, ask if I did it. I know if I ever want to get something done, I just tell my sister, and I know she's going to hold me accountable.
Any one of her sisters will hold her accountable.
So, like, if you like are really serious, ask somebody to help hold you accountable, or set a timer that goes off. Anything you need to do to help make this a habit. Yeah. So, another thing, I like playing worship music while I'm spending time with God. I talked about it at the beginning, but sometimes when I read my Bible, it's distracting, so I like to have instrumentals, which there's tons of great instrumentals, just to help block off everything else. Do you have any tips?
No, I mean, those are all good. Those are all really good. I mean, my main thing is just getting away from distractions and from people and from anything that could distract me really, and just really just focus in. You said a lot of great things there that apply to me, so I'm just trying to soak it all in myself and see what I can apply to my own relationship time with God. So keep going. You're doing great.
But that is the challenge today, since I know you have your journal, since I challenged you yesterday to have your journal out. Or your phone, your notes on your phone, if you're one of those people like Kaden that hates to use a journal. You know, whatever you are writing on to take notes, because note takers are
history makers.
History makers. Learn that at church.
Pastor Joseph Kellogg. You won't be watching this, but got that from you, buddy.
Anyway, write down at least one thing that you took away from today that might help you, and then apply it, because I know every day, remember, we're working on this, so today try to apply one of those things to help you, whether it's the 555, starting with worship music, putting your phone on airplane mode, writing down things that distract you, whatever it is. Pick one that you want to try today, and for points, message us or post a video or a picture and tell us which one you're going to try.
Yes.
Yeah. And if it doesn't work, that's totally okay. Like I said, this is not about rules, following a list of rules. This is just about helping you in something that I promise you is going to help the rest of your life.
Change your life forever.
Yeah. And you're going to grow closer to the Lord, and you're going to get to hear him and build a relationship. and it's going to be the best. So we really do just want the best for you.
Yes.
And like always, if you have any questions or anything, reach out.
Yes.
We love you. Yep.
Love you guys. For sure.
All right. See you tomorrow.
See ya.